Hoo-hoo, what do we have here? Somebody get out the Tims and get those donuts back in the deep fryer because it's time to pull out the glaze. Yeah, baby, we're talking about the Montreal Canadiens today and giving our praises to the captain of Montreal's historied franchise. Yeah, it's another video about Nick Suzuki today, but I do think there are some really fun conversation points to be having about Nick and his overall progression this season as an NHL athlete as well as an Olympian. I also wanted to dive into another Montreal Canadiens stat that honestly does seem pretty outstanding and unrealistically good. But we'll get into that at the end of the video, so stick around past all the Suzuki talk here. Nick Suzuki, 26 years old, 5'11", 207, right-handed guy, 65 points in 57 games played heading into the Olympic break. He is on pace for a 94-point year. He is ever so slightly itching closer to the 100-point marker, but don't count your chickens before the eggs hatch, because Nick Suzuki still has to get through these 6 or 7 Canadian Olympic Games before he can proceed with trying to get up to 94 points and beyond. We spoke yesterday about how he was on a line with Brad Marchand and Nathan MacKinnon. Pretty good line, I would say. It's not the first line, but really any of the Team Canada lines could be labeled as a first line, and you would have an argument for it to make sense. Oh yeah, how could this line be a first line? Well, because you've got Nick Suzuki and Nathan MacKinnon on it, and Brad Marchand is no bum either. This, ultimately, though, is the quote that I wanted to dive into today. It's from John Cooper, speaking out about Nick Suzuki's role on the team. I've seen the passes that he makes to Cole Caulfield. I'm hoping he makes the same ones to Nathan MacKinnon. I can't wait to see the MacKinnon and Suzuki duo made. Sports media goes out there and tweets. Kind of unfortunate they use that picture. Oh wait, no, never mind. Oh my gosh, at first glance, I thought this was an image of Kirby Dach getting injured and them having to put his arms on their shoulders to help him off the ice. But no, Cole Caulfield's smiling here. I don't think they'd be doing that if Dach was actually hurt. But this, of course, is a super exciting idea. Nick Suzuki setting up one tease to Nathan Mac Daddy MacKinnon. We know that MacKinnon is capable of absolutely gripping it and ripping it and bombing it towards the net. But honestly, when I think of Mac Daddy, that's not really like the most MacKinnon-like aspect of his game. Like, yes, it's true, Nick Suzuki can go out there and set up Cole Caulfield with some beautiful one-tees, but I don't know if Nick is really going to play the same way if he's got one of the most aggressive, rover, possession-type forwards in the NHL on his line. If anything, I feel like it could be the other way around. It could be MacKinnon just driving towards the front of the goal, barreling his way through guys, and then at the last second passing it off to Suzuki for the one-timer because Nathan MacKinnon can draw all the attention to himself. Suzuki is no bum, but he ain't Nathan MacKinnon. And on a Team Canada like this, I do question if Nick Suzuki and his puck possession will be reduced minute by minute compared to his role in the National Hockey League because of the guys that he plays with. And that's not even to mention the fact that Brad Marchand can go out there, hold on to the puck, make a dangle, make a play, and also just move his way with some fancy dekes and score goals that way too. It's ultimately a very good combination, and Nick Suzuki, what we've learned over the past few years, is that this guy is very adaptable. You give him situations, you give him different line mates, he finds a way, he excels, he uses the skill he has. If he needs to grip it and rip it, he can. If he needs to make a smart play to free up the puck and throw it into open space for a teammate, he can. If he needs to play on the opposite side of the offensive zone, he can. He can do some pretty good things all over the ice. Nathan MacKinnon obviously is one of the kings of doing that in the National Hockey League. So, John Cooper with that comment, hey, He wants to see Nathan MacKinnon get set up like Cole Caulfield does. That obviously is a pretty exciting sign. Now, ultimately, though, if I had to guess, we did say in yesterday's video, I would not be surprised if Nick Suzuki ended up finding himself as one of the top scorers on Team Canada. This could be one of those situations where the Canadian Olympic team just has varied scorers throughout the entire course of the lineup. Maybe there isn't one guy that absolutely runs away with it. Like in 2014, you had only two guys that were at a point per game, and they were both defensemen. The goal scoring came everywhere. Carter, Crosby, Taves, Getzlaf, Jamie Benn, Patrick Sharp, Chris Kunitz. Thinking about it now, I mean, yeah, okay, Drew Doughty and Shea Weber combined for 7 goals in 6 games, which is incredible. But Jeff Carter had 3, Crosby, Taves, Getzlaf had 1, so did Sharp and Kunitz, and then Jamie Benn had 2. There were not too many goals scored by the Canadian squad in 2014, but then again, it was a different kind of hockey 10 years ago. They didn't really score as much as they do nowadays. Nick Suzuki, alongside of Nathan MacKinnon, not to mention Crosby and McDavid and Celebrini on other lines, there could be a pretty good amount of goals scored by Team Canada. We'll just have to wait and see. Furthermore, this is something else that I wanted to dive into in regards to Nick Suzuki as well. It was posted about by The Athletic. Dom Lucian went out there and said that with some of the hardest assignments in the NHL, the Montreal Canadiens allow 0.16 fewer expected goals against per 60 with Suzuki on the ice. He has been excellent. And this image goes out there and shows off how Nick Suzuki actually has the highest defensive rating out of any NHL forward this season. 57 games and his defense rating is a plus 5.1. Yanni Gourde is at a 4.9, Noah Cates 4.5. Sam Reinhart was nominated for the Selke last year. He's at a 4.0. Of course, we recognize that Alex Barkov is probably not going to win that award this year. He's probably not going to play this year. But Nick Suzuki could very well be in the running and potentially the favorite for the Selke Trophy this year. No disrespect to Yanni Gourde or Noah Cates, but I don't think these guys are going to necessarily be in the conversation. I think we've kind of come to understand over the past few years that just being amazing defensively usually isn't enough to win the Selke. You have to have some decent to legitimately good NHL offensive production, and I'm sorry, Noah Cates, he could be as good as he could be defensively, but he's not scoring many points. You can say the opposite about Reinhart. He could be in the conversation. Same with Charlie Coyle. I think Rupe Hintz has definitely started to establish a reputation for himself as well. Not to mention Mitch Marner, who was already a finalist for the Selke once upon a time. But Nick Suzuki could very well be leading the charge by award season. So keep an eye out on that as we continue into the rest of the season here. Speaking about the Montreal Canadiens and defensively minded statistics, let's end off with this. Take a look at this post made by Lunch Zero on the Habs subreddit. The Montreal Canadiens are 25-1-3 when they get .885 save percentage or better from their goaltending. Insane stat of the day. The Habs are 25-1-3 when they get .885 save percentage goaltending or better. .885 is so mediocre. If the Habs had a goalie averaging .901, they'd be first or second in the NHL. Hopefully, the Habs can get closer to .900 save percentage to end the year and finish high in the standings. Now, you talk about the Habs and their goaltending statistics. We all recognize that that was an issue for this team, but I didn't realize it was that bad. All you need is an .886 or better, and the Habs have a 25-4 record with 3 loser points? That's absolutely ridiculous. No wonder Nick Suzuki is going out there and putting up Selke-level numbers with his own on-ice play. He's the guy doing the most defensively and not the goaltending. With that said, though, all this plays into what we could see for Team Canada and for Nick Suzuki heading into the next few days and weeks. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.